what am I today, what I've made today, the achievements actually I've made, this is because of Don Bosco Boys Town. Actually, I came here by virtue of luck. I thank God for being here, and I have no regrets at all.
It all began here in the year 1984. But today, it is one of the leading technical training institutes in Kenya, feeding most of the industries with skilled and able workforce. A fitting work for the poor youth of Nairobi was a felt need when Salesians of Don Bosco, a Catholic missionary congregation, came to establish itself in East Africa. The Salesians of Don Bosco are a religious society catering for the education of the poor youth and is present in 130 countries worldwide. Reverend Father Tony D'Souza was the superior of the delegation of the Salesians of Don Bosco in East Africa when it started in the year 1981.
We went to the Cardinal, and the Cardinal liked the idea very much, and he offered a place, and he offered us Karen. And we were very impressed by this big piece of land that he gave us for that purpose. And so the idea came, and then we were looking for a starting point. Who would take care of it?
Reverend Father McFarren, a member of the Salesians of Don Bosco from England, had come to Kenya on a vacation in the year 1983. While on holiday, he was asked to do a research about the conditions of the youth of Nairobi and to recommend what he thought would be the best approach in starting a work for the youth in the capital of Kenya, Nairobi. McFarren, accompanied by Thomas Punchakunel, the administrator, started touring the city.
As we saw the slums of Mathare Valley, we passed through into Andorra area. It was very enthusiastic. Says this is an ideal place for a work for poor youth and abandoned youth.
Father McFarren was utterly amazed, in his own words, by the awful slums surrounding the city. While the population of the city was around 1,350,000 to 400,000 lived in the slums, he described the condition of the slum as absolutely dehumanizing.
He saw kind of an insecure situation in the city, and he said maybe we can redeem this youth from this poverty and danger and all the rest. He wanted that to kind of recreate what he had done in Madras city in India.
In his report, McFarren said,
"Any work started by the Don Boscos must have an option for the poor clearly marked out. We should be known as men dedicated to the uplift of the poor first and foremost, according to the mind of our founder. Any other works should be taken up later."
Don Bosco Boys Town was the realization of that proposal made by McFarren. McFarren, seen as a man capable of bringing that dream into reality, was asked to join the East African delegation. He joined on 5th April 1984, and he was put in charge of the project, and the preferred location was to be Karen, in a piece of land given by the late Cardinal Maurice Otunga.
Well, I had high hopes that we would do something worthwhile there. I thought God had provided us signs. The fact that the Cardinal came forward, very generously providing us a land. We didn't have to struggle over that a long while. The way that God sent men who would do the job, like Father McFarren, and then Brother Chariot, and Father Thomas Puncha, I think he's still there with you. In this man, I saw the potential to be able to get things started.
Once the location was fixed, McFarren began to work out the details of the project Don Bosco Boys Town. By giving the title Boys Town, the founders envisioned an institution different from the traditional ones, whereby the boys would play a bigger role in running it. According to the original plan, there would be a mother in charge, and the boys would live in family units, perhaps the first family they would ever know.
Many of them were coming from broken families, families that were too poor to be able to provide for them, etc. What they needed was, first of all, an experience of family.
The plans and proposals were approved by the Council of the East Africa Delegation and by the Salesian province of Bombay, which was responsible for the delegation at that time. At the very beginning, it was clarified what kind of boys would be taken to the center. It was agreed together with one of Mark Ferran's collaborators, Cherian, a Salesian brother, that they would take the poorest of the poor boys, provided they are amenable to discipline.
The school we started during that time in 1984, mainly we didn't used to pay any even single cent.
In order to make sure that it is not all work and no play, the project was built on 5 basic principles. That the boys' town would be a home and a town, a place of basic education, where one is given vocational training, one will have moments to relax, and where God will be the father of our town. The plan was discussed with the delegate superior, Tony D'Souza, and it was decided that those who failed in Standard 8 would be taken to the school, not forgetting that the target would be the poor, even illiterates, especially young people with problems. The course would be for 3 years, and in the final year, they would adopt a policy of pay as you earn, to help them financially and even enable them to take with them a small saving as they leave the school. The age of the boys to be taken would be 16 to 19 years, but exceptions could be made depending on the background of the candidate. The Boys Town is to be run with its own mayor and councillors under the guidance of the staff and the Salesians. Thus, the boys would be held to learn and to respect laws so as to become useful and law-abiding citizens of Kenya. It would be a town of boys, by boys, and for boys.
Before we could do anything, we would sit together and discuss. We could cooperate and act as one group.
December 1st, 1985 marked the beginning of the Salesian community at Karen, with Mark Ferran and Cherian as its members.
Father
McFerran was a father who loved the youth with his whole heart. He would bring the youth from Nairobi to Karen and take them back in the evening.
He was a very, very humble father as I can remember him.
Already by December 5th, 1985, a small group of 5 boys were accepted for training, which marked a very important step in the life of Boys Town. December 8th was the red letter day for Don Bosco Boys Town community. It is the feast of the Immaculate Conception, and on this day, Don Bosco began his work. The consecration and the dedication of Boys Town was done on this day to the Heavenly Mother who guided Don Bosco throughout his life. On this auspicious occasion, Richard, the first Kenyan boy, dedicated all boys who would come to study at the Boys Town in the future to the Mother of God. And Father Tony D'Souza, the superior of the delegation, officially inaugurated the work.
That there would be problems, difficulties, etc., we had to be ready for that. Because Africa at that time, they did not have everything. A lot had to be imported from outside. Things were not easily available even in Kenya. But there was a need, and I think the situation there put us on our knees also to trust God would provide. And I think God provided.
Finance would be a very important element in the development of the institution, and so the early Salesians approached various funding agencies for support in order to realize their dream on behalf of the poor boys in Nairobi.
Money came from different quarters. People came interested to support it from different quarters. Right? And I thought as long as we keep working for the poor, as Don Bosco assured us, help will come, means will come. And I think they came, and I hope they are coming still.
One of the novelties that grew with Boys Town was the establishing of satellite workshops. There were a few small workshops in the different parts of the city, which were attached and supervised by Boys Town.
We are doing equally the work of Boys Town in 5 other satellites, which I think was a great pioneering idea which was started by Father McFerran. It was a very interesting experience that we could cater for many more, double almost the number of those who are residing in Boys Town.
Cardinal Otunga's visit to the boys' town took place in the month of July. After the Holy Eucharist, he spoke to each boy individually, and his enthusiasm and joy was summed up in his final words.
I am so happy today.
On January 31st, 1986, Boys Town celebrated the first feast of Don Bosco. From then on, it became an annual event which brought all the students from all the satellites, staff and friends of Boys Town together for a day of celebration. The Provincial Director of Social Services who visited Boys Town later remarked,
The boys here were taught more in 3 months than boys who were taught in 2 years in the local village polytechnics.
Those were truly words of encouragement for Boys Town. There were many distinguished visitors to Boys Town from the headquarters of the Salesians in Rome. Reverend Father Vecchi, the pastoral counselor of the Salesians of Don Bosco from Rome, together with Father Luke Van Looy, the mission counselor, visited Boys Town and gave encouragement and appreciation. On December 16th, the first group of 24 boys sat for the Grade 3 examinations in carpentry and masonry under the Department of Labor. This marked the beginning of a journey to equip the students for future life. Though there were some boys staying in a makeshift house, it was decided that a proper boarding was to be built. It was Father Tony's responsibility to build the boarding, which he took up as a priority. On 8th December, on the Feast of Immaculate Conception, the new boarding was opened with 44 boys. August 1987, Father Tony D'Souza, under whose guidance Don Bosco Boys Town began, was appointed as its director.
I remember those days with the nostalgic memories. There was nice fulfillment of our Salesian vocation in Africa. And I could see that Africa really needed Don Bosco. And our task was to offer Don Bosco to the African youth.
In November, a trade test was held in Boys Town for the first time. It was like a recognition given to the institution by the government. The students from the satellites also came to do their test. In 1988, January 8th, the former president of Kenya, Daniel Arap Moi, visited the satellite of Tinganga. He was very impressed by the work being done and expressed deep satisfaction. Early April, the Rector Major of the Salesians of Don Bosco, Reverend Father Vigano, and his Vicar General visited the Boys Town. They were very much in praise for the project and congratulated the Salesians for the wonderful work being done. Around this time, Boys Town was getting national attention. The leading newspapers in the country brought out features about it. On January 18, 1989, an article in the Daily Nation said
that Don Bosco Boys Town in Karen is helping many school leavers from poor families to learn useful technical skills.
In Father Tony's own words,
we did not want the boys to feel that they are here as rejects who could not even make it academically. We wanted them to feel that they are part and parcel of society and that they have an important role to play within it.
The official inauguration and the blessing of Boys Town took place on 31st January 1989 on the Feast of Don Bosco. Cardinal Maurice Otunga and the Nuncio, Monsignor Facchini, blessed the buildings, followed by the Eucharist. The permanent secretary from the Ministry of Public Works, Joseph Leting, represented the government. At the time of the inauguration, Boys Town had 150 students, of which 80 were boarders. The fame of Boys Town spread beyond the borders of Kenya. A group of young people from Don Bosco, Belgium came to visit, accompanied by a Salesian. They stayed 1 month working together with the boys from Boys Town. For many years, they continued this practice.
It was a good experience, at least to be with them, to know their problems, to know their progresses. And we also understood that it's not only we, but also there were some others from other countries who are also in Don Bosco schools. So it was a good experience to have them.
A day in a year was kept as a Thanksgiving Day for Boys Town. There was Holy Mass, games, and music for the boys, not forgetting a good meal. It was an occasion for the boys to think of the many blessings they received and to thank God for everything. This became an annual event. Father Santi Kijakinedeth is one of the Salesians who served the longest in Don Bosco Boys Town in various capacities. According to him,
gratefulness is a virtue all must have.
A grateful heart will never be unhappy. And that has to be taught to the boys. It's not because they have to, it's a must that they have to give gratitude, show gratitude to the teachers and the staff and the management there, but to teach the boys an important lesson. Whatever they get in their life, they have to be grateful.
Giving priority to education, by the middle of July 1989, Brother Thomas Anikat was appointed as the Vice Principal of Boys Town.
Boys, as usual, they'll playful when you come to the machine shop. I used to tell them, unless you are very serious about your job, you will never learn. Because I was so strict with them, they learned. And they're earning a good job in some of the places.
The preventive system developed by Don Bosco is practiced in all the Don Bosco schools worldwide. According to it, it is important to prevent a mistake rather than to punish once committed. In order to implement this, the physical presence of the educator among the boys is very important. Corporal punishments are never used in the Don Bosco schools. This was the system that was used in Boys Town.
It was basically meant on living among the boys in such a way that you put them in the moral impossibility of doing something wrong, because you were there with them. Like the presence of God, keeping us good. The Salesian system had that preventive system supported by assistance. That is the presence of the educator among the youngsters. And that's what we try to do in Africa.
During their training, the students are given opportunities to develop their many talents such as music, drama, games, and other useful hobbies. By now, there was a strong group of students who successfully passed out of this school but still felt very much connected to the institution. On 4th February 1990, they came back to the Boys Town to meet and to share their stories. For them, it was a homecoming. It was also a time to get suggestions and encouragements from their past tutors and the Salesians. This became an annual event.
Coming back is just like coming home. After almost 9 years, I feel great.
The name and fame of Don Bosco Boys Town was beginning to be recognized abroad. On August 15, 1990, Father Tony D'Souza was given the Giants International Award on behalf of Boys Town, together with 5 other outstanding persons for their distinguished service to the country of Kenya. As the number of boys increased, the need for a boarding master was felt. On September, Father Santi took up responsibility as the boarding master and in charge of the electrical department.
I was working with a youth group in Adams Arcade, and all these boys came from the slums. I was so much familiar with these boys. I thought I could give my best and I could do well there.
Though everything looked fine from the outside, there were some unhappy elements within the staff. Without informing the Salesians, a group of teachers joined the labor union, which brought some uneasy feeling in the institute.
What's the important thing, even if they join the trade union, is that they have to give a very good service to the institute where they work. When there is no service, they don't provide, they don't not commit to the job, then there is no place for any other activities there.
By now, Boys Town was making a powerful impact in the field of industrial training in the country. On 27th July 1991, Boys Town organized a Techno-Skill Expo. This was an opportunity for the school to show its training capabilities and production skills. Early January 1992 saw the handing over of the baton of directorship from Father Tony D'Souza to Father Irudaya Raj. As Boys Town was growing, it was felt that the infrastructure was not enough. So, in early February, the groundbreaking ceremony for the new administration block was done by the provincial, Father Thomas Tayil. Boys Town not only catered for the physically fit, but it reached out to the youth with special needs as well. Students were given annual retreats to help them in their spiritual life, picnics for their relaxation, and the celebration of various feasts. So far, Don Bosco Boys Town had only boys as students, and early February 1994, it was felt that girls too should be given a chance to study, and the secretarial course began for them. In 2004, girls were given an opportunity to study various trades.
The ideas about gender sensitivity, gender balance, all those ideas started coming inside, and they also said it's a time that we also look for girls to train them. So we started in 2004 with some 2-3 girls. When just studying how it will be in our institute with all these boys, and found the experience was so good.
It was a felt need of Boys Town to have a chapel of its own. This dream was realized, and the newly built chapel was blessed on 28th July by His Eminence Cardinal Maurice Otunga, the man who gave all the support and encouragement to Boys Town from its beginning. 1997, Father Hubert Pinto took charge as the director of Boys Town, followed by Father Devasia Manatara, Father John Machinyak, and the present director, Father Babu Mundamatam.
We are somehow kept up to the ideal of the pioneers. Even today, our preference is for the poor youth from slums. And if you look at our admission list even for the coming year 2010, those students whom we are given preference are dropouts of primary school and secondary school, to make sure that we help the people, boys and girls, who are really from the poor background, financially poor, weak background.
The hard work of many other Salesians has helped Boys Town to reach its present state. Today, Don Bosco Boys Town, known as Don Bosco Town, with the presence of girls, have various trades such as carpentry, masonry and plumbing, motor vehicle engineering, electrical, welding, fitter turner, secretarial, computer courses, tailoring and dressmaking, among others. The satellites have grown, and the administration has been given to the parishes in which they are situated. The challenges facing Don Bosco Town today are many.
To run this institution, especially, the running cost is very high. To look for the fund, and we are also trying to be self-sustainable now, which is not easy, as you know. Before, there were many donors and agencies assisting, but today we are trying to manage by ourselves from the little production work we do in the workshop. To see this, our students who complete their course, they get a job somewhere, and the courses which we are offering are also really good for them today.
Every department must go high-tech. The sense that now the whole industries are changing its face. No more the manual or things like that. They're all going for CNC machines and auto electrical systems, as well as these machines are run automatically. So automation, instrumentation, these are the areas we may have to train our students so that they will be really fit to get jobs in the job market.
The success stories of Don Bosco Town are many.
I came out a mature, energized and energetic young man to face the outside world. Here I got everything I had. I thank God for being here. When I came out of here, I came a very determined person, somebody who has now future.
I'm currently working in the administrator's office as an administrator assistant, and I still assist in the school office.
I am working with Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sport. I'm doing clerical jobs in the office.
Up to now, many students have passed out successfully from Don Bosco Town.